Nearly late. I was a minute late. Hello, 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 and welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome one, welcome all to the Katie's Arms and the last pub night before Christmas. So here we are together. I have come as a lobster. Hello everybody joining. Hello. I hope you all have wine. I hope you can all afford something to drink. Dear God. Okay, this is good. Merry Christmas. Hello, Australia. Hello to the Bahamas. Oh, not that I'm jealous. Good evening, my loves. Merry Christmas. How lovely that everybody's come to join us here at the Katie's Arms, our little momentary refuge from the wildness of the world around us. So cheers, everybody. I'm very proud of you all for making it this far and for being part of... Oh, here we are, Katie's Arms. Just make sure the glass is seen. For being part of Katie's Arms this year. So cheers to everybody for making it to the day before Christmas Eve. Yes, let's have a drink to that. Good. And for any newcomers, do let me know. Hello from Paul and Louise. Do let me know if you... I know, the hair is so high. And I have another exciting thing to show you, which in the grand scheme of your lives probably isn't that exciting. But in the context of us and Katie's Arms and the fact that I have to over-exaggerate everything because of my sad and tragic life, this is really quite exciting. I'm going to give you a sneak peek. Hold on. I know. My trousers are literally the colour of EasyJet. And you could say, oh, did I forget my lip gloss? Don't know, it's very important because people think and accuse me all the time of having lip fillers. Hold on. And I do like to wind them up. So one moment, I'm just going to... I haven't had lip fillers, but it's important that people say nasty things about me that aren't true because it makes me laugh. Look. And it's just that everything on my face is quite big, isn't it? Like I have big eyes, I have like a big nose, and I have big cheeks. So if my lips were really like, that would be a weird thing. But people are like, she had work done. Yeah, like I've got time to sit around wondering about my face and thinking, I know, I'll just put some shit in my lips so that they look more like labia. I mean, if my lips were actually like my own labia, oh God, my mother's on the wall. Should we take her down? Hold on, we can't have Mumsy listening to this. Take her down. I know, did you get a peek? Look. Okay, now I've blown my cover. Hold on, look. Da-da-da. Another thigh-high sock. Yes. And an EasyJet jean. I know. Yes, exactly. That's quite a descriptive pair of trousers, I'll tell you that. Managed to shock a few gentlemen in the pub earlier by bending over their table gratuitously. But yeah, if my lips were oh, sorry, we're putting Mumsy down, aren't we? Everybody say Happy Christmas to Mumsy. If my actual lips were like my actual labia, they'd be like, hold on, I don't know if I can still do it. You know when you do that thing where you, well, anyway, they'd be a lot bigger and longer. That's all I'm saying. So yes, I have my EasyJet trousers on because my last pair of jeans have gone through. I am now down to orange trousers. And that's not a good thing. Right, my darlings, MILF. Yes, exactly. I so am. Let me tell you all sorts of important things. Firstly, I'm very proud of us because we made it through this far. And it has been absolutely shit, hasn't it? This has been, I know people can be chirpy and people can be proud of things and, oh, my son did so well because he got this job and la la la. But really, it's been a shit year. It's been full of shit things that have really tested people, and we're still being tested right now, right? Now we're supposed to not go and visit our grannies because we're going to kill them again with either COVID or the flu or strep A. So stay home, piss off the old people and let them die alone. I think that seems to be the medical messaging. I just don't see that as being very jolly. If it were me, and bear in mind I'm getting older very quickly, I would rather see people and then die dramatically of COVID or flu than be on my buggering own. What I cannot get my head around, and I feel like we've gone backwards in time, is why do you want to just preserve life just so you can say you live longer? What the fuck for? you want to say, oh, I'm 98. Okay, and I've spent the last 4 years alone. So what was the freaking point? What's the point in just trying to preserve your life? I don't get it. I would rather go out balls to the wall tomorrow and be, you know, stuffed up against a building by a large truck doing something wrong, and that as the truck was removed from my body I died on the sidewalk, than try to preserve life or try and sit alone so that I might live another day. What the fuck is that? Who wants to just live longer? What's the point? So that you can, you know, end your days alone in some miserable nursing home, pissing yourself and shitting yourself until the point where your ulcerated arse kills you off. Fuck that. Okay? What wine am I drinking? If you don't know that by now, honestly, where have you been? So I drink Barefoot Merlot, which is incredibly cheap. And when people go into the wine store and ask Lovely Mark what wine to buy that's not too expensive, he says, well, I don't recommend it, but my wife, who's cheap, drinks Barefoot. And I think it's the best wine that there is. And actually, I have no taste at all. I couldn't be less of a wine snob if I tried. And any wine snobbery, actually, I get very bored of. My favourite Christmas song, oh, do, 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 do. Where did it? Don't let the bells end. Because, my husband tells me, the guy that wrote Bells End only did it to see how many times he could get the word bell end into a song. So all my kids know this, and we've known it since the time began. But if you count bell end in that song, let the bells end, do Christmas time, he manages to say bell end, I don't know, 30, 40 times. And it's actually the world record for the number of times someone could say bell end in a Christmas song, which I think is really important. Hello. So it has been a shitty year. Now, the other thing that's really pissed me off this week, visiting the many pub establishments that I go and frequent, is the alarming number of pubs that are going to shut down. And my very favourite pub in the whole world, called the Thirsty Farmer, can't afford to stay open next year because their electricity bill used to be, let's say, but this was the example, £1,500 a month, will be £1,500 a week. And as a pub that does the best food ever and has the nicest people in it ever and has like individual like farmers drinking alone just to numb the pain of life, they're going to have to shut down. And I've heard this over and over now. And personally, because I believe in all of the stuff I believe in, which is that we are being forced into our homes, forced out of social gathering, forced away from other human beings, taken away from things that used to make us belong and make us laugh, I can't help but think it's all done on purpose as a contrivance to stop us gathering, which of course they won't get the better of us. But for a pub that's so brilliant to have to close just because if they turn on a friggin' light it's too expensive, that's just terrible. And that's got to be 5 or 6 pubs that I know of that have the same issue. So we've got that coming our way. Jeremy Clarkson was right. Yes, and some of you may have seen my YouTube stuff on this, is what actually happened to take the boy down. But I think he can float above it because he's so terrific. And the thing with the mob is, if you don't satiate them straight away and throw him at them and sack him from this and fire him from that and get rid of him from that, they don't win, they lose momentum and they give up. But it's when people cave in that really early phase, that's the disaster. But hooray for Jeremy Clarkson. And in my opinion, it doesn't really matter what the media says. He's just become elevated for most people, or many people. If you hated him anyway, you still hate him. If you loved him, you now think he's bloody even more marvellous than you did before. And no one was ever going to swap their opinion on that, were they? I need to tell you a few things. I'm going to be doing an alternative Queen's speech right here on Insta and no doubt YouTube on Christmas Day. It's not going to be the Channel 4 bullshit, which is like being rude or disrespectful to the royal family. No way. And of course it's not disrespectful to the Queen. This is my Queen speech, QWEEN, and it will be, as you would expect from me, a piss take of the shit that we've had to endure this year that no one wants to talk about, including people that died suddenly. And obviously we don't talk about that 43-year-olds dropping dead with a heart condition. No, we just don't mention that, so that's perfect. But it'll be a Queen's speech that is entirely celebratory of the decent ordinary Brit and calls out all of the twats that have pissed us off this year. So we'll be doing that together, you, me, anybody. When you're bored or when someone's pissing you off, put your little headphones on and you've got a little bit of me gassing about the world. So we'll have the alternative Queen's speech, because we'll have the King's speech, which of course is the proper thing, and then there'll be the Queen's speech by me at about 4 o'clock on Christmas Day. So do come join us for that if you just need a moment of light relief, or if some of your rellos, are dickheads, or particularly woke, or love the vaccine, or maybe you love the vaccine and maybe they don't. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But like people that feel the need to force their opinion down your throat. On that point, I have been at the pub this afternoon with my husband for a cheeky little drink on our own after we went dog walking. There was a guy in the pub who felt like his opinions needed to be known by the whole pub, even though none of us were asking for them or wanted to listen, but he wanted the pub to know that he had the right view about everything. And that was all going along very fine, and I was definitely dialing out and I wasn't going to be involved. And then I heard the line, so the Tory parties have broken Britain for the last 12 years, the Tory parties have fucked this country, what sort of idiots vote for the Tories anyway? That's all fine, because a lot of that I actually agree with. Then I heard the phrase, and why do people give a shit about fishermen? And that's when my ears went. And then he was like, people that fishermen are like 1% of the economy, and only fascists support fishermen. And McColl's employ more people than the fishing industry supports. So why do people give such a shit about fishermen? And at that point, I was kind of trying to visibly restrain myself, because that's the sort of thing that I just find incredibly disrespectful. Because that fat twat in the bar, what I wanted to say was, tell you what, I'll line you up with one of my fisherman's friends, and at 3 o'clock in the morning in the winter, you can go and jump on their boat with them and see how long you last trying to be a fisherman for a day, mate. See how long you last. See how rewarding you find it after a full day trying to keep an industry going that no one seems to give a shit about. Is when people criticise ordinary people trying to work hard, it just grips my shit. And the next time he's tucking into some fish, I just want to get it and shove it down his neck and say, where do you think this frickin' fish came from, love? Do you think it came from McColl's? You think swimming around in the McColl's freezer? No. Okay, carry along. I know, my hair looks good. You're so sweet, but it actually doesn't. I mean, it's just, I was sort of going for Anne Boleyn meets Princess Anne, like lots of Annes. I think I nailed it, right? Just don't look at the back. It's largely just poofed up. There's not really much there, but let's not talk about that. So that was that. I have somewhat damaged my voice today because, as some of you may be aware, earlier I was being Zelensky. The Ukrainians, we do not ask for sympathy, no. No, we blame the Russians, but we have our faith, and we will go on fighting for Ukraine. And every day we will stand and we will fight another day, and we will be strong, like America is strong, and our democracy will be strong. And at some point it went very French, and it went quite hello, which I was personally enjoying as I was doing this. But basically Zelensky in front of Congress, kind of blowing them all with typically American lines like, American is the ambassadors for freedom. And to Ukraine, we will be ambassadors for freedom too. Now give us $45 billion. See, the accent. Ukrainian is not my specialist, accent. But how everyone's falling for the Ukraine shit is beyond me. Having said that, of course, as many of you will know, many of my neighbours did have Ukrainian peoples in their homes, which was testing. American ambassadors of freedom, give me $45 billion. So that happened today. What else? Oh yes, So our venues, and thank you everybody who's just been so brilliant about the stand-up tour. As you'll know, we started off, we might not know because I'm not sure I disclosed all of this, but we started off with about 30 venues because everybody wanted to book after Blackpool because we sold out. And then as people got scared and the mob descended and mostly councillors got involved, local councillors, I'm guessing mostly kind of, people who transitioned. Anyway, events got cancelled. And so we are left now with 5, I think, venues, which the mob sees as a terrific win for them because they've managed to cancel so many of my shows. But there's a really strange thing happening in a weird dynamic where I see it as a massive win for us because I don't mind us taking the pain of humiliation or whatever it's supposed to be because these venues are standing firm with us and because of what you've done, which is get on there and book tickets, say you'll come support the venues. When I came and asked you all for help to say thank you to the venues, you did that. Blackpool is now the fastest selling show that they have. So come to Blackpool. Stamford is standing strong. Stafford standing strong. And so these venues, it's just if they can hold, and I think they will now because you guys are buying the tickets, we can make those happen. And if those can happen, more can happen. And also what's happening is, yes, do get people together. Do just make the effort to come because I know it will be like a transformative moment for our side. And it helps to kick the tide, right? It helps to turn the tide. But we've had other venues come forward. So some are going off to ask their bosses if we can make it happen. A great venue has just popped up in Bristol. So we're going to make that happen. So we will have more for those with you. But it's basically, we're back to the days of the speakeasy, right? In the days of prohibition where people used to meet to be able to drink privately and speak their minds, we're back to the speakeasy. And that's what the glorious thing is that we're going to be doing. And I promise you, you'll feel better. And after the year we've had and the year we're facing, I think it's what we all need. Yes, I can play the piano. And yes, one day I'll play the piano on Katie's Arms, but not tonight. Mostly because I'm wearing my EasyJet hot orange jeans. I know, little much even for me. Right, do we have any questions? And I will answer them. Freedom of speech, yeah. Well, it's sort of freedom of speech, but also the freedom to just gather, the freedom to choose, the freedom for people to choose if they want to come, and if they don't want to come, don't come. The freedom not to have someone else tell you what you can and can't do, to have a counsellor try and cancel something because they disagree with it. So what? Go and disagree at home. Just let other people decide, right? And so it's all sorts of freedoms, not really just speech, just people having the freedom to choose how they spend their time. Who do I think will win the war? Russia already won. It will just be strung out until Biden can kind of launder enough money through the military industrial complex, and people who needed to profit have profited, I guess, much in the same way as I would argue vaccines and vaccinations worked. But, we think differently. What's my plan for Christmas? Well, normally we all go away to a house so that no one owns the house, so that no one's in charge, and so that everyone can get along. This year we're going to Mumsy's house. It'll be us, the kids, my relatives will be there. So we'll all be at my mum and dad's, and they're doing the cooking, which is sort of genius because they're the best at it, because they're from farming stock. And so first thing in the morning, my daughter, my middle one, the naughty one who's me, has to go and milk. She helps run a herd of cattle. So she'll be milking on Christmas morning, and then we will go to my mum and dad's for Christmas and Christmas lunch, which is exciting. And then we're going to, have I ever got a text? Then we're going to go to London and have some playtime, me and the kids. Have I ever had a text from Beyonce? No. How rude. I know. I've never been asked to dance for her either. I mean, she's obviously missing a trick. Did someone just say, is Piers Morgan a dickhead? Yes, in real life he is. And not in a sort of a chit-chat way. Like if he was here, we'd chit-chat, we'd have a nice time and we'd get on. It's the fact that he doesn't have genuine opinions or beliefs. So like the stuff I do, I've been doing for 10, 15 years and I really believe in, and it sits on a on a bedrock. It sits on a foundation of me wanting the very best for ordinary people like me, like you, like ordinary people. And what I believe is, I believe because I want ordinary Brits to be all right. In fact, I want everyone to be all right. But I want them also to leave other people alone. And I fundamentally believe that with all my being. And it doesn't matter if I have to spend 4 days in the back of a bus smuggling my way through migrant camps or onto boats or whatever to go and show what I'm trying to tell is true. I'll do it. It doesn't matter what happens to me. I just want to show people the story I'm trying to show them and let them see that it's real. Piers just flows with whatever is the most trending thing, hooks onto it and has a view that is likely to get him the most clicks. So, it was unvaccinated people shouldn't be allowed to travel or go anywhere. Unvaccinated people shouldn't even be allowed to leave their houses, when that was popular for him to say that. And now it's, maybe this whole thing about the injectable wasn't right. He just, here's my Christmas card with Trump. Oh, now Trump's a wanker. It just goes. And the Meghan Markle thing, I do know the backstory to Piers and Meghan. And the reason in the early days he was basically trying to blow Meghan was because she texted him. He thought he had an in with her. He thought he was going to get the first international interview with Meghan Markle, which is all he lived for. And when she didn't give it to him and she went to Oprah instead of Piers, that was after he'd been, whatever. But once he knew he wasn't going to get the interview, that's when he turned. And that's why Piers pisses me off. It's got nothing to do with him or what he does or earns or nothing. Although the endless redemption he has from his many sins, kinds of great. But it is the fact that he doesn't have an authentic opinion. And that pisses me off because he's got a massive, massive platform. Okay. Piers is obsessed with Madonna. Ooh, I don't really know about that. But I do know that, I just wish Piers was authentically true to himself. In fact, I wish that for so many people who still have a platform, because they could help people, ordinary people, to have more of a voice. And I think that's what we all lack, isn't it? Right. What was I going to leave you with? Yes. Somebody said to me the other day, they were watching my YouTube videos, I think, or maybe they were on Insta or whatever. And they're obviously not part of our family who understands that, frankly, I'm well beyond giving a shit. But also, if you don't get that I'm trying to laugh a lot at the madness, then you're a few steps behind. But they were like, I don't know who this woman is. And that's fine, like, nor should they. But, she's clearly having difficulties, and I hope she gets the help she needs. And I have to say, if there's one thing... So there used to be a phrase that, when people used to say, I pity you. I used to think, oh, fuck off. Because pity suggests that you're elevated and you're casting down your goodness onto you pity them. You have my pity because I am up here and you're down there, right? And so I hope she gets the help she needs. Is also like that, right? I'm so good and so pure, and I am perfectly at one with myself and the world. So I hope she gets the help she needs. That whole holier than thou thing, which is like the whole Radio 2 thing or whatever, is la la la, goodness and virtue. Oh, so tedious. And that's why most of TV is so tedious now, isn't it? It's because everybody wants to be the one that's liked. Everybody wants to be the nice guy or the friendly guy or the person that befriends the person that's been a wanker so that they're the good guy. And that's so boring. What happened to the people that just used to go on telly and just go, fuck that? We don't really have that anymore. We just have Miriam Margolyes, who I quite like, but just if she says the word fuck or fart, for the left, that's hilarious, but it's not actually hilarious in and of itself, is it? You need someone who's genuinely saying, fuck this. Anyway, rant over, but I hope you get the help you need. Is up there with stay safe. Fuck. There's one thing. Don't say to me, stay safe. You say stay safe, I mentally log, Please God, let me never speak to this person again for the rest of my life. Stay safe. For what? For what? So I can wake up again tomorrow. Fuck off. I knew people who, when we were having the ambulance strikes the other day, not that any difference would be noticed because they take fucking ages anyway. I've waited 5 hours with 2 dislocated arms. You know, I do get it. But like, and bless them all for trying, whatever. People are like, well, I'm not going to use the car today because there's an ambulance strike. These people genuinely exist. There are genuinely people out there who don't use a car because there's an ambulance strike and they think they might self-preserve for one more day. I wonder sometimes if I'm not an alien species. I mean, it happened during COVID, didn't it? So many of us found out that we were on our own because we're surrounded by absolute weirdos who just want to self-preserve and will happily, if someone said, I need to ram this carrot up your arse in order for you to be okay, they would literally bend over and say, have you got more carrots? Can I get his carrot as well shoved up my arse? Can I get my neighbour's carrot shoved up my arse? And actually, have you got a carrot you could also shove up my dick? If that will make me safer than that person, can you shove another carrot up my penis? That's who we're surrounded by. And as I go about the place, on a day-to-day basis, that's more and more the mentality in my brain. And then, of course, I'm surrounded by you guys who just are darling. I ran up a hill the other day in town because I make myself run up the hill because, I don't know, it's punitive. I don't know. There's a whole psychological issue there. But anyway, a lady ran up behind me all the way up the hill, and it's a bloody big hill and it's terrible to run up. But she ran up just to give me a hug. And I was so overwhelmed that she'd run up the bloody hill and was puffed, left her daughter in the coffee shop at the bottom of the road. Like, not in a stroller, like a grown-up daughter. But she came just to give me a hug. And that's the overwhelmingly positive thing, is that for all the people who've got a carrot shoved up their anus, there's many, many more of us who know that the carrot anus people are just wankers. And frankly, if there are more, you know, died suddenlies, I'm not going to shed a tear. I love penis. Well, good for you, sir. Good for you. Now that I'm working in New York City, people are astounded I never got the vax. I know, wasn't it? How was Skeggy? Skeggy was so great. The Hatters Hotel and the Savoy. If you can, so the Savoy, the Savoy. I don't know what that was. Well, I do. But in Skeggy, it was £27 a night, bed and breakfast. Just the most gorgeous people, the guy behind the bar and the reception, just lovely. I was under a different name, but he was like, I know you, you're brilliant. But anyway, and even the rooms still have proper keys that you turn with a big wooden thing on it with your room number. Proper thick carpets. Skeggy's just marvellous, and the people who have said no to government money just to try and look after the tourists of Skeggy. I'm going back anytime. And we're trying to nail down the Skeggy Embassy Theatre because they're supposed to be on for May, and I just need to keep them good to their word. Because people are trying to book Skeggy when I perform, and I know we'll have a great time. And Hatters Hotel have offered to have an after party at the hotel, so that's why we must keep that on. Right, I better let you go because you need to go and do Christmas and things and be with your family. So thank you for joining me. We're going to try and do this again next week. I'll be coming back from London, so fingers crossed we get to do one before the new year so that we get to clean house, clean slate and start again. But please be reassured I'll be with you next year through 2023. In May, we'll be bringing the Katie's Arms and, most importantly, Stand Up to our venues. And please do keep supporting those venues because this could be a real moment for our side, the side that just wants everyone to be all right, to say, actually, if we want to have fun together, we're going to have it. So that, and most importantly, I might see you on Christmas Day for the Queen's speech with me, which is just laughter. But most importantly of all, and this is a sincere moment away from the nonsense of me, is that for as hard as this year has been, and for every moment that you've been tested, and for some people tested beyond the point that you believed it was worth continuing, please know it is always worth hanging in there just for one more day to see what tomorrow might bring. And that for every single time that you're made to feel alone and that you cannot do this anymore, that's being done to you deliberately. And what's so important is that you remember who you are, remember that you're a good person who deserves better, and that you are not actually on your own, and that all around you, surround you, people you would not expect are with you, and that we are so many in number, and we are so much stronger together. And I remain endlessly optimistic that one day things will turn round and it will be our side that walks forward, because history will be on our side and all will be well. So please know that I know that sincerely. I know that without question and without doubt. And on that note, I will thank you so much for being such amazing supporters. It's going to set me off. You know, people say, oh, you've got followers. And that isn't true actually at all. The truth is that you guys completely light my path. And the world is a much brighter place with all of you in it. So thank you so much. And I wish you all and your families a very, very Merry Christmas. And please do just try and live and laugh just as much as you can. Okay, very Merry Christmas.